episode of the TSR Legal Podcast. I'm James Salt, legal consultant here at TSR. Joining me is our Associate Director, Ryan Price. We're really excited to launch this new series, giving you an insight into ultimately who we are, what we do, and how we can help legal professionals across the UK.
Well, James, this is very, very weird. Slightly nervous, as you can imagine. But yeah, it's great to be here. And for anyone new to TSR Legal, we're a national legal recruitment agency based in Cardiff. We have been around for over 20 years. We are lucky enough to work with some of the best law firms across South Wales and the UK. For more than 20 years, we have been helping firms find the right talent by supporting legal professionals at every stage of their career. That's on the support side, from anywhere from a legal secretary, paralegal, anyone within a support function within a law firm, all the way through to fee earners. And this might be a newly qualified, an associate, partner, legal director, equity partner. We cover it all. And I think our goal it's always been very, very simple at TSR Legal. Connect people with the right opportunities and help the sector across Wales and the UK thrive.
Well, that's ultimately why I joined TSR myself. And it's really what the podcast is about. We want to lift the lid on the world of the legal recruitment space, share advice, really market insights, stories that people literally ask us every single day in the profession. It's not just about reading job ads, it's about helping listeners understand how to navigate their careers and what's actually happening in the legal market day to day.
James, very flattering. Exactly. So for the first episode, we thought we'd start with the basics, a bit about TSR Legal, the roles that we recruit for, and some of the practical advice for anyone looking to move forward in their career. Maybe that be someone who's just going in the process of going to university to carry out a law degree or an LPC, or someone looking for that first paralegal role or first trainee role within a law firm. We will have you covered.
What's been quite striking about joining TSR myself is over the years, TSR has literally built strong relationships with some of the UK's biggest leading law firms. So we're talking Magic Circle, largely the regional ones, and then there's some really good high street. And we've placed lawyers, paralegals, legal support across a broad range of these practice areas. So that could be corporate and commercial, to litigation, real estate, private client, family, all these kind of areas of law. So we cover pretty much everything.
And I think that's the most important thing. I think no matter your level, no matter what your PQE, no matter where you are in your legal career, being able to support you is extremely important. Everyone needs that support. So whether you're a student thinking about your first training contract, and for newly qualified or more experienced lawyers, it's often about alignment, finding a firm that matches your ambitions, offers the right level of responsibility, and gives you the space to grow or specialize. And I think that's evident since COVID. A lot more firms are flexible in terms of hybrid working. I think previously COVID, there was only a select few that were able to offer that. But most firms across the sector are now able to offer that better work-life balance. And I think it's really, really propelled the legal sector forward in alignment with many other sectors across the UK.
Yeah, I mean, that's an important point. I think the majority of people we speak to, they think recruitment largely starts with applying for jobs or finding the jobs, but really it starts long before that. I think it's about those long-term goals, what you enjoy, the type of area of work, the type of work specifically, and also the firm culture. I think a lot of people sleep on the idea of the firm culture is really what they want to be. The first role doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's the main thing. It's a stepping stone, building that experience and finding the right direction, but also not jumping to law firms all the time.
Yes, I think if I'm honest, I think across the sector, I think the flexible working is still a major talking point. I think hybrid and remote options have really, really opened up the market, giving people the chance to work with firms that maybe they wouldn't have considered previously. Diversity and inclusion are also the forefront and centre of firms, and it's putting a really focus on building teams that reflect society.
Well, we're seeing a lot of market changes at the moment, and be that because of AI or the Silex changes, legal tech, AI, automation are all just transforming the way lawyers work and ultimately how they look at working, which means firms are looking for people who can adapt, who are really flexible and embrace these new tools.
I suppose that's what's the purpose of this podcast. Over the next few episodes, we'll be covering everything from how to stand out with your CV, to preparing for interviews, to navigating training contracts, and hearing directly from people working in the profession. We've got some fantastic guests lined up from head of corporate partner, head of personal injury, head of litigation, COO, CPO. And we really, really want to give you a flavour of what the legal market has to offer across Wales and beyond.
Now, before we wrap up, let's quickly just touch on what the recruitment process usually looks like. It starts with identifying the kind of role that you're looking for, tailoring your CV and highlighting the relevant experience. And that's quite often not the experience you'd think that needs to be highlighted. Then, especially with us, we prepare you for those interviews, and that preparation is really, really key. So even if it's just being conversational or looking at the job specification of ultimately what they're looking for, aligning that is so key.
Definitely. I think knowing the firm you're into, understanding its cultures, practice areas, and thinking about how your skills fit are considerably important. And remember, interviews go both ways. You're assessing
100%.
them as much as they're assessing you. And I think that's really, really important to know. I think, yes, the firm might want you as an individual, but you've also got to want them. And both cultures have to align, both motivations and have to align to make sure that it's the right opportunity for both parties.
100% right. I think networking is ultimately another big part of this, and talking to people in the industry, whether it's at events through LinkedIn or even informally, just giving insights that you ultimately wouldn't find online.
No, I totally agree, James. And I think what we hope this podcast becomes is another way to share those insights, stories, bits of advice that really make a difference to someone's career. So if you're watching this podcast and you think, I'd really like to know a bit more about a certain practice area, or a certain area of law, or a way a top 100 firm would operate, or a high street firm would operate, please send in your questions. I think this is going to be really, really important. We want it to be educational for a broad range of individuals across the sector. And the only way that we can do that is by being as interacting as possible.
And really transparent. I think that's a big part that especially candidates and clients that we work with really value. So ultimately, that's our big introduction, TSR Legal Podcast, and ultimately what we do. And we hope that's giving you a bit of a clearer picture of who we are, how we can help, and whether you're just starting out at the moment or even looking to take that big next step in your career. We're here, and we're here to assist any way we can.
And we'd also like to thank you, the people that are going to be listening to this very first episode, and potentially the episodes moving forward. We've got some great guests coming up from working within the sector for myself for over 12 years. We've got some really, really interesting guests lined up. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast in due course.
Until next time, stay curious, stay ambitious, and remember, we're here to help here at TSR Legal.
Thank you much. And we look forward to seeing you soon.